we are going to go ahead and talk about app merge now. So my name is Sophie Mawhinney. I am the product solution manager here at FLIPLET. As always, if you have any questions or interest in what we're talking about, please go ahead and pop that in the Q&A section of your Zoom chat. So before we jump into our exciting demo, let's talk a little bit about what is App Merge. So App Merge is a new feature that gives you the ability to merge one app into another. We'll be demonstrating this shortly, but before we do, let's give you a little bit of insight on the feature and how you can use it. So you might be wondering, how could this feature potentially benefit you, and maybe when would you and your team use it? So there's some common scenarios where we feel merging apps can really make a big difference. So for example, if you've built and tested a new feature in staging, you can move that straight into your live app instantly, no rebuilds or no manual copying needed. It's also great for bug fixes. You spot a little issue within your app, you can go ahead and troubleshoot that in a copy of the app and go ahead and push that right into your production app once it's been verified and tested in just a few minutes. You can also use it to update existing apps with updates from FLIPLET Solutions. So as we have talked about previously, there's a lot of new exciting things happening in our event solution, for instance. So if there's a new feature you'd like, you can easily roll those into the live current version of your app without having to recopy it and do too much manual work. It's also perfect for refreshing your brand's design and look and feel, keeping colors, menus, and layouts consistent. So any branding refreshes that need to be done can happen in one version of the app and will be merged into the live version of your app. So for any of you that have ever tried to update, copy, merge an app in Studio, you know it potentially isn't the most simple process depending on the size of your app. So updating an app meant copying and pasting screens, pulling over different data sources, files, and sometimes even code manually, all one by one. Studio users often had to rebuild and recreate that from scratch, which could take a lot of time and create plenty room for mistakes and errors. The risk of these errors, things like broken links or missing data, is always high, especially when there's larger, more complex apps. This is all currently done without any real audit trail. It's difficult to track what changes or who made those changes. Yes, we could use our audit logs, but those don't specifically tell us what's happening during a merge process. There's also no version control currently for global code. So this means if something went wrong, it's not easily able to roll back previous work. So altogether, updates currently are a bit slow, can sometimes be repetitive, and a little bit risky. And this is exactly what App Merge is designed to fix. So I will now go ahead and switch over to my demo. What you're seeing here is FLIPLET Studio. You can see here I have two separate apps. I have my partner retreat app. This is my live app that is currently used for my partner retreat. It was used last year, everyone loved it, but there's a couple new features I want to roll into it. So what I have done is made a copy of FLIPLET's new event solution with some of these new features, and I want to go ahead and merge those into my live app. So what I will do under this More option here is select to merge my app. So this is going to open my merge interface. So this is my source app where all these changes sit, and I'm going to copy that into my destination app. So I want to obviously make sure I have my source app here, and I'm going to go ahead and start the merge. So you'll see here the first step will be selecting that destination app. Where do I want those changes to go? I'm going to go ahead and select my partner retreat. So I've selected my app. You can see at the top here, I have my source, that app that has the changes that sit within it, and then my destination, my live app, if you will. I know the two new features I want to roll into this are my digital business card and my floor plan, so I'm going to go ahead and select those screens. So those are my screens I've selected. I then want to tie in what assets I want to move over. So I want to move over a couple data sources. I know that this app has a new data source with a floor plan assignment and also some speaker contact information that wasn't in the old or the live version of my app. So those are my data sources that I want to carry over. I then have my files. So I know that there's a PDF of the floor plan I want to use. So I'm going to go ahead and check that. And I'm going to go ahead and move to my settings. So settings are really exciting because this allows you to copy different parts of your source app into the destination app. So something like app settings would allow me to completely kind of override my live app, which changing maybe the app's name, the description, splash screen and icons, those are kind of some of those launch assets. So if I wanted to do a full override, I could use the app setting. I don't want to do this here. As mentioned, I'm just pushing a few new features into it. I can also copy over the styles of my menu or global appearance. This might be nice if we're doing a full branding refresh. I can make sure I'm copying all of those specific styles, fonts, colors, menus over to that new version of the app. Again, I don't really need to refresh anything at the moment, so I'm going to leave that. Also, our global custom code. If there's any code that sits in the global level of your app, you could go ahead and copy that over. For this use case, I don't need to do any of those, so I'm going to go ahead and move forward and review my merge. So I see a little bit of a summary before I move forward. I can see my screens that I've selected, my data sources that I've selected, and my file that I've selected. I can see that these are kind of all new features that I'm rolling into the app. If it's an update to a specific screen, I will get a little note here saying it's an update, so I can see what's being pushed and that's new and what's remaining that is being updated. So I see a little bit of a summary here. Everything looks great. So I'm going to go ahead and start that merge. So as it's merging, you'll see a little bit of a progress bar, an activity log telling me what is being merged, how long it's going to take. This was a small merge, so it didn't take very long. Obviously, if we're merging 100 screens, it would probably take a little bit longer. But for this case, it was fairly straightforward. So I can see a summary here of what I've merged. I can also see some important next steps. As always, there's going to be a little bit of manual work required. So I want to make sure that everything has merged into that destination app correctly. I want to make sure the screens that I merged exist, they're functioning. Anything that was pushed into a data source will already be live, so I just want to double check that. And then if I need to, I can go back to the audit logs for any more detailed information about the merge. And I have a little bit of a dashboard to see recent merges. Again, a great way to come back in here and see kind of an audit trail of what happened when. So that is the overview of how merge will work. So I'm going to give you a little bit more information before I pass over. As you can hopefully see from this demo, the app merge process is now becoming super automated and will really help you merge and copy apps a lot easier than before. You now have a structured step-by-step process that walks you through exactly what's being merged, so there's no more copying and guesswork. Everything is version controlled and logged, so you always have that record of what was merged by who and when. So there is that ability to review and roll back certain assets if needed. It also means that there's a lot faster ways to update your apps. So whether it's that new feature, a bug fix, a design tweak, you can push them quickly and confidently into your app without that manual work. You also have full visibility through the process of seeing what's merged and how that is impacted in real time. So it's safe to experiment. You can test any new ideas, copy your app, move things back and forth without worrying about any breaking of the live version or downtime. So now that you have a better idea of how the feature works within Studio, here's a little bit of an overview on what app merge might look like. So you'll see here you have your live version of your app, which you would start with. This is the app that is your destination app, so where you want those changes to go into. What we will do is then create a copy of that app. So the copy of the app will be where you do this development, testing, any of those changes that you're making will be made in that copy of the app. And so those are safely made changes, fixes, testings without affecting your live version of the app. So once those changes are completed and you have tested them, you can then merge them back into the live version of your app. So this will give your users the latest improved version of your app without any real manual rebuilds or downtime. We also here have a little bit more of a complex flow, so this kind of explains a similar process. So this flow shows how the app merge process will support a safer, structured way for multiple people working with the live version of your app. So here you'll see a live app. You'll see 3 different copies created for 3 different purposes. So one for rolling new features into the app, one for bug fixes, and one to make some visual changes. So that those copies have been made. In the new feature version, you have a FLIPLET Studio expert making some changes for you in there. The next copy, you have bug fixes, you have a hardworking developer in there making a lot of changes and bug fixes. And then maybe you have someone from your marketing team doing a design overhaul to your app. So those 3 separate apps will be worked on in isolation by those individuals. They then will all be tested. Again, in isolation, so no one's affecting each other. And then they will all be individually merged into the destination or live version of your app. So those are 3 different types of changes that were made by different individuals, all then being merged into that live app. We then can test and make sure that everything has gone as expected and push that live. So this approach helps teams move a lot faster, collaborate more effectively, and make changes without risking any downtime to the live version of the app. So this feature is currently in development. It will be available to everyone later this year into early 2026. So as always, if you have any interest in this, if you'd like to see how it works, please go ahead and reach out to us and we can give you a preview of it.